Hi, my name is Shaizia Jifri Manekshaw. Most people, when they work with me, call me Shez. And I'm the person who's going to be teaching the Teachers Help Teachers Using Drama for Learning course, which we refer to as UDL. Now, I got a bunch of questions in from teachers, and I thought rather than me just speaking to camera about what the course is about, I would try and answer those questions because I'm sure all of the teachers who are even interested in this course or looking to apply for something similar want to know exactly what this is about. So I'm going to start with the first one over here. It says, why UDL for teachers specifically? Isn't UDL meant for teachers who want to teach drama? Now, all of us who designed this course started out teaching drama. And what we found was that drama is this wonderful central integrating point that allows for you to use it sort of like a tool or a vehicle to teach pretty much anything else. So what it becomes is it's almost like a structure or a scaffolding that you can hang many other things onto. And what I mean by that is that we have drama exercises and games that become ways of teaching other subjects. A very simple example is there's this energy clap that we pass around a circle at the beginning of any sort of session, and we use it a lot in various drama sessions. Now, what we found with teachers is that actually this clap, if used in different ways, can be used in maths to teach times tables. We have used it to teach anything with sequences with younger learners, like the months or even for the days of the week, and anything that works in a sequence actually works really well with this exercise. And in the same way, we have various exercises that then became sort of these like perfect structures to teach other subjects. And so then we found that actually rather than just drama teachers doing this, any teacher can do this. And this is not new learning. This is something that people in the UK have been doing for quite some time. This is something that has been going on in Australia, in Canada, in various parts of Europe, and even South America. I mean, people have been using drama in the classroom to teach other subjects for quite some time. And though it seems new to most people in India, this is something that is slowly growing. And wherever we introduce it, we just find wonderful changes that are happening in the students. They're more responsive. The classrooms are more engaged. You find that learners are asking more questions, they're looking at things from different perspectives. So yes, this is actually something for a homeroom teacher, for a subject teacher, and there's no limitation on that. You don't have to be a drama teacher to do the Using Drama for Learning course. So I hope that answers that question. The next one that I have is the course meant for me if I teach upper primary or secondary? Now, all of the things that I explained is very much for your upper primary, your older learners, and your secondary school learners as well. What will happen is you may need to adapt what is going on, and that's something that we talk about in the workshops, is the adaptation for age-specific learning, and that's something that we will touch upon. But actually, most of what we teach works across age groups. Now, what tends to happen is for your very young learners, you might just pull out some part of it. So for example, again, I will go back to the very simple exercise of passing a clap with a sound. Now, when we do this with very young learners, it just becomes about passing the clap. We're not bothered so much about the other things. Like with older learners, we work on eye contact, the idea of giving and taking energy. Now, with the younger learners, obviously, they can't grasp these things to begin with, so we break it down to very simple components. But for an older group of learners, then we can make it far more complex. We can start passing objects. We can look at how we can actually do word play and word association with the passing. So the complexity builds depending on the age group. So actually this is work that you can do across age groups. There is no lower or upper limit on it. So yes, of course, this will work for your upper primary and also for your secondary school learners. The next one that I have is, how will drama help me to teach subjects like math and science? Now, the wonderful thing that we have found is that all of the activities somewhere have an adaptability. And I have been personally working with various groups of teachers in which maths and science teachers are finding ways that they can do things like teach times tables. They can teach graphs in different ways. We actually physicalize graphs and use it to plot scenes and things like this. But of course, this happens much later. We might not do that in the very first workshop, but we will give you certain tools that have adaptability, and we will talk about the adaptability of those tools. So yes, even maths and science teachers are most welcome to do this work, and they find that this work helps them in their classrooms. The next one says, I am aware of the importance of drama for learning. However, I don't know if I'll have the time required to implement the tools in classroom teaching. Where do teachers have time? Well, that's a really valid point, because all of the groups of teachers that we have worked with are really pushed for time, and we can understand that, because teaching more than ever is this high pressure job. You have to do your lesson plans, you have X number of things to cover in your portions or in your units, and there really is no time to add that one more thing. But what we're asking you to do is not think of what we're giving you as one more thing. It becomes a way to deliver your lesson. So actually, we help you find a way to actually bring that content together and make various connections for your learners, and it requires no extra time. The only extra time you're required to put into it is the way you start to think about your planning, right? And the way you start to look at how you put together a lesson. Now, the flow of your lesson may change from what you're doing now, where you're actually just standing and delivering a lesson. We may have a point in your lesson where you have a warm-up, you have an actual main engagement, and then you have a reflection time. But we find that many classrooms now actually have that basic structure anyway. So we're not really reinventing the wheel for you, and we're not making things harder. Somewhere we're helping you to find ways of delivering existing content. So if you stop thinking of it as, one more thing to do, and actually a way to deliver my class, it can be quite freeing. There is a particular teacher that I've been working with over the past 2 years, and now she actually has managed to, even her whole demeanor has changed. She's become this storyteller in her class, and everything she does with her learners is almost like a story. And she runs various activities through the class, and everything is connected to each other in a very beautiful way. And on the days where she actually comes and doesn't do that with her learners, they all turn around and say, why are we doing class like this? Why are you doing things differently? Because we actually find that way easier to learn. So it kind of changes how teachers react and respond to their learners, and you start to find that even your relationship with your learner becomes a much deeper one. You start to understand them on various levels. You start to see the individual and their needs a lot more. So I think even though at first it may feel like a little bit more time, over the course of a year or even 2 years, you'll find that this is something that takes no extra time at all if you just put it into your planning and you think about it a little bit, and then over time as you practice it, it gets easier and easier. So no, I don't think that is actually a problem. It's the reverse. It's something that will enrich your time in the classroom, and it doesn't take away from the need to finish a unit, and it doesn't stop you from finishing portions. Okay. What is the next one that we have on that list? Will this enable me to make my lesson interesting? I think we've pretty much covered that, but what it does do is drama definitely gets learners to think about things from different perspectives. It suddenly allows them to start using their entire body and not just their brains. I mean, this is something that a lot of educators now are looking at, the fact that we actually need, especially when we're younger, but even for everybody, even for adults, we need to use our bodies to be more creative, to be able to think more, and drama allows for that. The other thing, of course, it allows you to put yourself into other people's shoes. So it builds empathy, and it also builds on people's ability to question, people's ability to dialogue with each other. So yes, I think on many levels it makes a lesson far more interesting. Does this course help me to teach drama to students? I would not say the first course will allow you to do that, but over time, as you practice these methods, yes, you will be able to teach drama to students. We are all a group of drama teachers ourselves. We have been practicing and doing this, and all of us actually go to other people's workshops. We go and learn more for ourselves all the time. So my advice to you, if you want to be a drama teacher, is to actually get out there and practice as much as possible. Go and learn as much as possible. Read as much as possible. And yes, then teaching drama is something that you can do. But it does take a little while to do it effectively. So I wouldn't go off straight after the first course and teach drama. But over time, yes, you can do that. We can talk about the essence of the course. How can it... What is this? Sorry. Right, so the question is basically, how can we make learning interesting? Now, I think we've covered most of that, but the one thing that it does is it allows you to suddenly weave stories into everything that you do. And I think when there's a story behind something, we are far more interested in it. And when we can connect directly to something, we want to know, no matter how old you are. You might be 2 or you might be 83. But if somebody begins to tell you a story about how things happened, or makes it personal, or they begin to engage you in some way, it suddenly becomes far more interesting to know. The other thing, of course, is that the exercises that we do allows people to drop many of their inhibitions, and they just start to take part, and they start to work as teams, and they start to do these things where they're collaborating as well. And all of this, of course, makes learning far more interesting.